Welcome back to another video on some classic Doctor Who. Today we're going to be talking about Doctor Who and the android invasion. Now, I was lucky enough to watch this on VHS. It was pretty fun. I had a blast watching this episode. So the description says, when the TARDIS materializes just outside a sleepy English village, it appears that the Doctor and Sarah Jane are nearly home at last.
Well, come on, make your mind up. Has the TARDIS brought us home or not?
Possibly.
But all is not as it seems. In rural paradise, white-suited, gun-wielding guards stalk the countryside, while the village itself is eerily deserted. As the Doctor and Sarah look on, a unit member leaps over a cliff to his death, and as the clock strikes 12, the local pub is suddenly filled with strangely robotic villagers. The Doctor is mystified, heading off for Unit HQ in search for answers. There, with the Brigadier away, senior defense astronaut Guy Crayford holds court. But just who is his shadowy master? The Thrall. Stygron, indeed. Who are the Thralls, and what have they got in store for Earth? Why is the TARDIS dematerialized seemingly of its own accord? The Doctor must move quickly to find the truth. So the episode starts out with the Doctor and Sarah, and they land on a place they think is Earth. The Doctor even makes some kind of mention of, like, the wood there. Yeah, he mentions that oak trees don't grow anywhere else in the galaxy, and he sees, like, an acorn and shit. And he's like, oh yeah, this is definitely Earth.
If someone started exporting acorns, oak trees don't grow anywhere else in the galaxy.
Well, he ends up being mighty wrong. They're kind of just looking around everywhere. I believe they're trying to get Sarah Jane home. I'm not really sure what was happening leading up to this episode. I just, like I said, I watched it on VHS, so I was just kind of thrown into it. In the opening, I think it's before the title sequence, but it could be after that, I'm not sure. But there's a guy, and he's like doing this weird twitch as he's walking. You see him at the beginning, and then we get some stuff with the Doctor and Sarah, and then he shows up again, and he's doing this really weird twitch, and then he just fucking runs off of a cliff. The Doctor and Sarah start chasing him down, but they're too late. He falls off, so eventually they go down to his body, and they're basically looting him, and they pull out all of his coins, and all of his coins in his pocket are dated the exact same date. But immediately after that, a bunch of dudes in spacesuits show up, and they have this, like, how their hands work is it's just like their finger like this, and they literally shoot out their finger. It's actually a pretty cool getup. I like it. Oh, this next part fucking cracked me up. So they're running away, and Sarah Jane trips and falls, like rolls down a hill. Oh my god, that was hilarious. But I think she ends up like hanging off the cliff, and the Doctor has to help her up, or hanging off this hill, something like that. Oh, the way they had her tumble was fucking hilarious. After that, the finger guy starts shooting at them again, and they end up running into an extremely quiet village. The Doctor ends up getting the idea to go check out the pub, because he's like, there's gotta be people in the pub. They get there, no one's there, it's empty, of course. Meanwhile, a truck pulls up with a bunch of androids, kind of like filling up the town and filling up the bar, just kind of making it look like there's people there. That part actually gave me big Peter Capaldi vibes to his, I believe it's his first episode, like when they're in the restaurant and they have to hold their breath because of all the robots in there. So the Doctor runs to Unit to alert them to like try to figure out what's going on. Sarah Jane stays back and immediately gets caught by the androids in the bar. Immediately.
I think you better go, miss.
Why?
It might be best.
So the guys confront Sarah Jane, and they have like a little back and forth there, and eventually she leaves, and that's when she sees the astronaut suit dudes or robots or androids. So Sarah Jane goes back to the TARDIS, and as she sticks the key in, she gets distracted by this artifact that they were looking at before. It's actually like a pod that they put all these androids in to eventually go to Earth, but for right now, I guess it's just, like birthing them or getting them ready to come out and be the androids after they analyze their brain. She gets distracted by that, leaves the key inside the TARDIS. The TARDIS materializes away. We learned later on it went back to Earth. The artifact opens up though while she's there. A man reaches out and grabs her leg and then instantly starts choking her. Sarah Jane is not having a good time this episode. There's actually a lot of fucked up shit that happens to her. She does end up getting away from the guy, but he strangled her for a bit. And then the Doctor's looking at some information on the Brigadier's desk. That's when he runs into this Pirate Patch dude, which, fuck, he's gonna be around for a while. That dude's kind of annoying. He's working with the bad guys. They lied to him. He thinks he needs the eye patch, but he really doesn't. He walks in and points a gun right at the Doctor and starts being like a dick to him.
I'm asking the questions and I have the gun.
The Doctor runs away and gets shot at a lot.
Is that finger loaded?
I love little comments like that from the Doctor. In like a sticky situation, he's still making jokes about their fingers shooting at him. I love that. And then, by the way, Sarah Jane is watching all of this after she ran away from that guy. She's been following the Doctor, so she follows them right into here. As these guys, they capture the Doctor, they're bringing him to lock him away. Sarah Jane goes to let him out, and some big fucking creep opens a window and fucking stares at Sarah Jane. It's very creepy. He's just poking his head out staring at her. But so the Pirate Patch guy, he's talking to the big creep that was staring at Sarah Jane. The big creep shouts at him and tells him not to let the Doctor and Sarah Jane escape, but the Pirate Patch guy has a fucking fit and wants them destroyed.
No, Stickler, no! They must be eliminated! They must be destroyed!
But after the big creep, he does like this sound wave weird stuff to his head. He does that, and that quickly persuades him to be like, okay, we could just capture them. Actually, that's cool. That's cool. He gets on his radio or whatever, and he's like, yeah, just capture them. Just capture them. Sarah Jane tells a story about a man that died in space, and the Doctor says he doesn't think he died in space. He thinks he actually got something and brought it back to Earth. This man is actually the Pirate Patch guy, or the Eye Patch guy, and they landed on where he landed. So now Sarah Jane hurt herself again. She twists her ankle falling down, and now she's injured for fuck's sake. So the Doctor ends up having to carry her, and he puts her up in this tree because they're being chased by robots, so he's like, you just stay here, I'll get away. He ends up actually stripping some clothing and hanging out underwater, like holding his breath. But right after that, Sarah jumps out of the tree and ends up getting immediately caught, and they end up following her. And I guess they knocked her out or something. Like, they're following her, and then the next scene is her just on their table, so I guess something happened there. So they end up placing her in one of the artifacts, and they scan her brain, they analyze it, so now they can make clones or androids of Sarah Jane. The Doctor's back in the bar, he's playing some darts, and he realizes that the dartboard's never been used before, and then weirdly, it cuts to the bad guy's ship, and the dartboard's like his hidden camera. Like, he has hidden cameras all over the place spying on the Doctor. It was very weird. This guy is very much a creep. At every point, he's just like fucking cucking it out with people. The Doctor also flips through the calendar in the pub, and he ends up seeing that every single date is the exact same date on there. So the Doctor gets a call from Sarah Jane in the pub, says she knows the bad guy's plan and to meet her in this building behind the pub. I think it's like a candy store or like a grocery store or something. But there's a fun moment right after that where the Doctor, after they're talking, he hangs up the phone and then checks it, and he goes, oh, interesting, the phone's dead again.
Well, would you believe it? It's out of order again.
So he meets her, he gives her ginger soda, and I thought that was going to be like some kind of trick where it's like, Sarah Jane doesn't like ginger soda, and that he'd find out she's an android or something, but that didn't mean nothing. She says it's delicious, and then he gives her a weird look, but then she ends up telling about that they're replacing people, there's androids everywhere, she met a bunch of fake people. The Doctor, he tells her that he knows that they kind of let her make that phone call, and this is all like a trick. They're being tested, basically. So the one of the creeps, there's multiple on this ship now, but so he clones the eye patch guy, or makes like, he analyzes his brain one more time and makes a new android of him, and then kills the android right away, just like to prove a point that like I can kill my creations, like they mean nothing to me. It's very weird. Just like a power move from him, I guess. But he's showing him like his weapons that he's making. Like he has like this laser pistol that kills the dude in like one shot, and they want to put it like on all their spaceships or whatever. So I guess it was like a big example for that.
So far effective only at short range. But my armory section is developing a much more powerful version for our space cruisers.
So the Doctor has some big reveals here. He tells Sarah Jane that she's not the real Sarah Jane, and that they're not even on the real Earth, that like he feels the wood and it's fake wood. They have a little scruffle. She falls over. Her face falls off, revealing that she's a robot. Later, like with no face, shooting at the Doctor too. That's a really good moment. Just seeing the companion like in a position like that, and then spoilers, later on you get to see the Doctor be an android as well. That's a lot of fun. But yeah, so with no face, she ends up shooting at the Doctor as he runs off into the woods, and then the creep and some astronaut dudes tie up the Doctor and put a bomb in front of him in the middle of the village, and then Sarah Jane has to come. They try his knife, because also they tied him up with like branches from a tree, and it's really strong because it's like metal branches here or whatever, like it's artificial, but his pocket knife can't cut it. Sonic does the trick, they get out of there. But there is a hilarious scene as the bomb going off of Sarah Jane closing the blast doors and the sonic waves go off and hit her. That fucking killed me. There's some really good moments like that with Sarah Jane in this that just made me laugh the way they had her act. But so the creep now wants the Doctor destroyed, but the eye patch guy ends up persuading him to keep the Doctor alive so that way they can analyze him and make an android of the Doctor, because they find out he's a Time Lord, and that could be very useful to them. Because also the whole reason they're even doing any of this is like there's so much radiation on this place, and it's growing and growing and growing, that they're like kind of learning how to take over Earth, and they're just gonna go there and take over Earth and like get in some big powerful positions and then just kind of hide away. At least that's what they say, but really they're just gonna take over Earth. So this is where we learn that Pirate Patch Boy he's been helping these people all this time and helping them do these tests to take over Earth. But so the big creep now, he got this virus that can help wipe out like everybody on Earth. He ended up putting some in Sarah Jane's water as well, expecting her to drink it and die. But she ends up, the Doctor and her kind of come up with a plan before he gets taken out of the cell. They could use it to electrocute one of the androids and like escape, which that's what she does. But so meanwhile, the doctor's getting hooked up to the machine and he's getting analyzed. Sarah Jane does end up saving him, but it's too late. They analyze him anyways, and he's also a little disoriented from the brain analyzing.
I feel disorientated.
But immediately after that, they end up sneaking onto the rocket. I guess he's not that disoriented. He can still sneak onto a rocket. And they go to hide inside those artifacts, like the pods that are hiding the androids. And they need to get inside so the G-force of the rocket doesn't kill them. I liked it, but it was also, like, it was funny, but it was dark. The moment of Sarah Jane being like, "It's crushing me. It's crushing me. Crushing me. And then the episode like ends as the rocket's going up into space. That was crazy, but it also cracked me up. As they're doing that, the Doctor clone like peeks out and looks at them, and then he hides back down into his little pod. Unit, after all this, ends up seeing the ship coming to Earth, and they see these little asteroids coming off of it. At least they think they're like asteroids or meteors, but they are actually the pods that the creeps are shooting out so that way the androids can take over Earth. A little bit later, Sarah Jane ends up finding the TARDIS, but the replica of the Doctor shows up, and then while they're having a chit chat, behind him, the replica of Sarah Jane wakes up, and they end up chasing her down. Which that was a very good, like, creepy moment of like her having a conversation, and then a robot version of her wakes up like right across from her. The Doctor kind of pulled this out of nowhere. I mean, I'm sure he's had it before, but he has a robot detector and he uses it, and then the Doctor replica shows up, and then the Doctor ends up jumping out of a window while getting shot at by himself. Very odd, but very Doctor Who. But so now the androids and the Doctor are shooting at the Doctor, and they've replaced a couple people at Unit now as well. So the Doctor, after he gets away, ends up going to the scientist or whoever, and he makes this thing that's gonna block some of the satellite dishes from being able to do shit, to wibbly wobbly stuff, basically. Hit a button eventually, the robots will freeze, and they can't, like, it'll block it from the spaceship or something. To be honest, I didn't quite get that. I just know, oh, he made a thing that can stop them. But while they're doing that, they go to hit the power button, and the Doctor ends up shooting the scientist, but it's the android Doctor.
A clever way to jam android circuits, but not quick enough.
And this is where we get the reveal that Eye Patch Guy isn't even really hurt. Big plot twist. We get a very fun Doctor versus Doctor fight, which actually eventually kind of leads to them teaming up because the Doctor like reprograms him and has him help him at the end. So the Doctor ends up hitting the power button on the satellite thingy, stopping the Doctor and all the other androids. Eye Patch Boy gets very pissed and starts fighting. They're fighting, and then the Doctor joins in as well. The creep ends up getting knocked down onto the virus and then shoots the Doctor, but it's the replica Doctor, and that's when we get the big reveal that the Doctor actually like reprogrammed him. But yeah, now we're basically at the end of the episode. The Doctor and Sarah Jane are walking back to the TARDIS. She says she's gonna take a taxi home because of all the shenanigans that has happened. The Doctor's like, "Come on, I'll just take you home," and she's like, "Okay."
I'm going home, and I'm going by taxi.
I'll make you an offer. I'll take you home.
How can I refuse?
You sold me, I'll go home with you. But yeah, then that's it. That is Doctor Who in the Android Invasion. Like I said, I had a lot of fun with that episode. I thought a lot of like the suits looked really fun. Like I like the crawl costume, even though it's like now looks very shitty, but it's also fun. They just look very gross. All the androids were a lot of fun in this, especially getting to see like Sarah Jane with her face off, and I even liked Eye Patch Boy by the end of the episode. So it was a lot of fun. I really like watching some classic Doctor Who, especially like being able to watch it on VHS. That's just a lot of fun. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see me do more classic Doctor Who videos, let me know in the comments down below, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out, Girl Scouts.